What should be basic foodstuffs in Kenya have for the past 1 year been a luxury for many. Thus, batch of tomatoes, which would normally go for 40 shillings per kilo, skyrocketed to 80 shillings per kilo. That's a 100% rise in just under 1 year. The same was felt in maize meal, wheat flour, among other foodstuffs, a factor that saw Kenyans imploring the government to take action and rein in the prices. Kenya's parliament has recently passed a bill requiring Treasury to fix the price of food and petrol. The bill, namely the Price Controls Essential Goods Bill 2009, provides for the fixing of maximum retail and wholesale prices of maize, maize flour, sugar, rice, wheat flour, kerosene, diesel, petrol and cooking fat by the government in a move set to have huge implications for the country.
Yes, there are huge implications. I think one of those is, the first one is basically that Parliament is giving to the Ministry of Finance, through the Minister of Finance, the discretion to set maximum prices. And yet on the other side, through our Vision 2030, together with other articles of our policy, shows that we are interested in, or rather that the country has taken a economic liberalization phase, and that we are undertaking more liberalization. So obviously there's a contradiction in that.
The price control may not be the best way to go about trying to achieve that objective. What we need is to look at, if it is, say, food items, if the price at which they are available to the people is such that they cannot afford, what is it making them to be too expensive? So we need to look at the side of the equation on the cost of production.
Already, manufacturers have cautioned the president from assenting to the bill, warning that the move will kill industries and reverse gains made in liberalizing the economy.
There is no doubt that if you want your lowest prices, you should allow and facilitate competition. The price control bill as proposed will take away competition, and while it might look very attractive in the short term, it's going to be very unattractive for Kenya's consumers in the long term, because eventually you will see fewer and fewer manufacturers in business, or they will be sourcing their products from outside.
The bill has also been categorized in some quarters as retrogressive, especially at a time when the East Africa region marks the commencement of the East African Community Common Market.
What the Kenya government is doing, and that should be the right direction, is to come up with a targeted scheme which provides the budgetary resources which are applied to ensure those of our people within the community that cannot afford can have still access to food through those type of initiatives.
The vote by members of parliament seeks to return the country to a practice last seen in 1994, when the government completely freed the market economy. And economists have been quick to point out that if controls are reimposed, then they might need to be wider than those envisaged in the bill.
It's just important for Kenyans to understand what a price control regime means, what its implications for all of us are, because it's not price controls, as we understand, only through retail outlets. I think the bill gives the minister the discretion to set prices, so that even if two villages are exchanging maize or wheat or rice between them, then that will be subject to a price control.
Manufacturers have also warned that price controls will result in scarcity of some products, as factories are forced to close shop due to massive losses.
If it gets more competitive, we'll have to make a few choices as a company. The first would be, can we tighten our belts, gain efficiencies any more than we've done already? And I'm sure there's an opportunity to do that. The second would be then to start declaring redundancies, because if I can't compete in his maize milling, I would have to do something. The third would be to look for alternate sources of that finished product, and yet again that would create redundancies, because I wouldn't be manufacturing in the country.
Consumers, however, have welcomed the new law, saying it will save them from unscrupulous middlemen who were responsible for the high cost of most essential commodities.
We feel that consumers need to be protected because prices have been on the increase. Even when we have bumper harvest, when government has put up measures to control prices, and there are some industries that have been ripping off consumers.
Economists have, on the other hand, advised that whereas price controls are well-intentioned, the government must find a way of controlling the cost of inputs like electricity, fuel and raw materials.
You've got to control electricity pricing. You've got to control your water pricing, your labor costs, your transport costs. And it goes on. You can't just simply control the finished product price, as I say.
Kenyans will be keenly watching the next few days as they wait to see the president's response.